I'm a junior. I'm a business management major. I'm the site coordinator for St. Patrick's School in Roxbury for 2 years now. So yeah, I was a tutor first and then I became a coordinator. With my site specifically, we go into Roxbury with the Lasell van. There's 10, 11 of us. First, we have like orientation and we're assigned to different like classrooms. And within that classroom, the teacher in there will either ask that student to do something with one student or they'll just like help the overall teacher. I love this program. I've been in it for 3 years now, so it's been really rewarding for me. The kids are outside of recess and they see one of their tutors coming out of the van. They're like screaming, they're like, whoa, yay, like we're so excited. So it's very positive for us to be there for them because for the teachers, they see them as like older adults and like stricter. And then for us, we're not very close to their age, but we're there that like they're more comfortable and they're like more willing to like tell us how they feel and whatnot.
So we taught a lot of group lessons where we had an individual group between 2 teachers and there was maybe like 12 kids and we went through lessons and pronunciation in those lessons, but I think a lot of the one-on-one work when we just became closer with some of the kids, like when we were just playing with them, helped them a lot more in some ways because they learned words that we wouldn't have taught them in the lessons. And it was just really interesting to see their progress because Lasell goes there every year. So to see some of the stuff that they had remembered from years past and to see them work on stuff they had trouble with, last year that they were maybe better at this year was just so inspiring.
So what the headmaster said was when we were the last day at the school, the students of the school, the Luna Montway School, all lined up and sang the Tanzanian national anthem to us. And our students were lined up and all weeping at saying goodbye to these folks. And the headmaster sort of sidled over to me and we were looking at this display. And I said, wow, it's really amazing this has happened in 10 days. And he said, it's because you have loved them. But it's very clear that by the time we leave, their English is better, they feel more comfortable speaking English, more comfortable reading English and writing it. We also have developed a relationship with them. I mean, they respond to us. I mean, from playing with them on the playground, we become friends with them. And they recognize that Lasell comes back, so they see a relationship with a school very far away that's interested in their development. And I think that's a hugely positive impact on them.
leading and co-leading, so I had to organize everything. So it was like a whole new aspect. I had to do like logistics, interview process, being in contact and emailing people, and also making sure my participants up to success, such as just educating on the issue of food sustainability, and they felt comfortable and knowing our service sites. The partners we worked with were really great. We worked with Merge Memphis, and we helped start like a homeless shelter for women. We organized all the donated stuff. We did St. Mary's Soup Kitchen, and what we did there was prepared food and also served the homeless. Did Memphis Tilt, they're really good. We started the garden there, and we planted, compost, everything that needs to get started. Being socially responsible is in everything, no matter how you define yourself or what you look like. It's about not leaving people behind, in the sense that we as a community, we should help each other out, but in return, one day they could help us out, but we shouldn't expect it.
The Berry Price Center Mentoring Club is a club that creates and grows friendships between adults with special needs and Lasell College volunteers. So our participants come to Lasell and they go to events and programs that we host for them, and it's a great place for them to interact with other adults their age.
You really need to try and make the clubs inclusive, because the autism spectrum is so large that you really, you don't know if you're going to have, some of our participants have many different disabilities, so we have to make sure that they're all included in the meetings no matter what it is. Working with people with disabilities can be something that's uncomfortable, and we try our best to really address it at the beginning of each semester with our new members and our current members, just to help them be more comfortable around people with disabilities and have them see that they're really not that different and they're really awesome people still to work with and fun.
The Berry Price Center Mentoring Club definitely has a huge positive impact on participants from the Price Center. They absolutely love coming to Lasell. I'm actually a staff member at the Price Center, and when I tell them that week they're coming to Lasell, they get so excited, and it's really great for me to see that, because as the people who plan the events, it's great to see that they actually really enjoy it.
Is a nationwide movement where we work to make bowls and then sell them at the end of the year, where all of our profits go directly towards the food pantry.
Empty Bowls is about giving back to the community and creating awareness of hunger in our community. Just because we live in Newton, which is a very affluent city, doesn't mean that there aren't people who live here that still need our help.
Being the advisor of Empty Bowls, I am every week inspired and amazed by the creativity, the leadership, the desire to give back of my students. So I learn just as much from them as I hope that they learn from me.
So the whole idea about what Empty Bowls stands for is to promote the idea of hunger awareness. So, while you might think that it's simple to just go to the store and buy whatever groceries you need. A lot of people don't necessarily have that luxury. So with the event that we hold in April, it's a way to kind of give the people who don't always get the chance to do things that we take for granted a chance to kind of actually utilize what a normal person's everyday life can be.
I'd like to share with the Lasell community that being a part of Empty Bowls is a way to use your creativity and impact the larger community.
So the Vagina Monologues is a series of monologues all surrounding topics such as, all surrounding vaginas, basically.
I think Vagina Monologues is a great event for the community and for community involvement. Not only is the cast made up of various Lasell students of all different backgrounds and kind of experiences, but it's also put on for not just the Lasell students, faculty. Lasell Village residents come every year.
It's important for Lasell to host the Vagina Monologues because Lasell prides itself on being very diverse, but there are still certain instances and certain topics that are still very taboo and that still need to be talked about, and I think the Vagina Monologues is a good way to kind of spark a conversation, a very important conversation, about women and female empowerment, and also normalizing the fact that people have sex and women have sex, and the vagina is a completely normal thing and it's a beautiful thing, and it's very important to have this show to empower people to talk about things that are, to kind of push the limits.
So it's a very long process. We actually start in the summertime for all the ones. We do it once a semester and twice a year. So we start in September and we pick a date, and then after the date is normally in October, we then have to go ahead and run through how many nurses we're gonna need, the parking spots, the location, because we have to have a minimum and a criteria. So we try to make sure we get to a certain minimum of life-saving donations that we get and how many lives we can save. And then after that, I table for as long as possible. Normally I do it for like a month or two, and then I try and get students involved, and I have Vice President Ostro send out an email every year to get more people involved, and I try and get staffed as much as possible involved as well. Each donation, so one person can go and donate if they fit the criteria that the Red Blood Drive sets. And what they do is they take one donation and it saves up to 4 lives. So last October, we actually had our highest donation we've ever given at Lasell, and we actually saved up to 100 lives that day, and all we did it was from 11 to 5 o'clock. So we say the Lasell community has impacted 100 people. Service learning to me is taking what you've learned and applying it to your community. I can't donate due to my criteria, but I'm able to put forth what I've learned at Lasell into the community and give back. Even though I might not be able to donate, I'm still able to plan the event to get more people who can donate to come to DeWitt Hall that day. So it's a simple thing that most people don't realize they can do. It doesn't matter if you maybe can't do that activity, but you can still show up and try and like market yourself and show that no matter who you are, you still have the ability to service your community.
The White Ribbon Campaign starts with my sexual violence class, and from there we incorporate all of the athletes that we train. So the primary athletes that we incorporate in the tabling are the lacrosse team, the men's lacrosse team, men's basketball, men's volleyball, and then men's baseball. And this year we had over 100 athletes participate, which was pretty amazing. So White Ribbon Campaign comes from Canada, and it was started 15 or so more years ago. And it was really about engaging men and being part of the solution around sexual and domestic violence. And what we see so often are men say, I'm not a perpetrator and I'm not a survivor. So how does that factor me into this movement? And what we do when we train is always try to give men, and all genders really, another way of getting involved. And that's usually as an ally or as someone who's helping raise awareness around the issue. So the campaign is meant for men to kind of stand up among themselves without people applauding them or clapping for them, but stand up among each other and hold each other accountable and say, we need to be part of the solution. We know that peers tell peers. And so I can stand and teach and influence the way students think in my classes, but we really know that students are going to tell their friends and their circle around them more than they're going to tell any adult on campus. So we have to then educate peers using peers. And that's why the students, all of our campaigns are student-centered and student-driven, because they listen to each other much better than they ever listen to me, and they hear each other differently, and they become really compelled by the issue and inspired by it, and then it becomes contagious from student to student to student. So I think the students are at the center of everything we do, and if we didn't have them involved, it wouldn't have the dynamic and far-reaching feel that it really does.
Lasell is a smaller chapter of an international nonprofit of She's the First. And She's the First aims to raise money through events and fundraising to sponsor educational scholarships for girls in developing countries who are either the first in their family to go to school or the first in their family to graduate school. I mean, in essence, She's the First is very much service related because our main focus is doing activism and education events on campus to serve the local community, and 100% of the proceeds of those events go towards helping girls in the international community. So last semester we had our first leadership conference in December. That was our big event of the year, and that was centered around success and how it means different things to everyone, and we looked at it in the workplace and in a global perspective. And we also took part in the National Bake a Change campaign that She's the First runs, where we sold rainbow tie-dye cupcakes and donated the proceeds to She's the First. And then this semester, we did a mason jar hot chocolate sale at Valentine's Day, and we just last week had our second annual International Women's Month Gala, which is in celebration of March, which is International Women's Month. And we brought in speakers from the community, from Lasell, and from the international surrounding area to talk about their work in advocacy, in education, and to really have a very empowering event to hopefully spread awareness about these issues and get conversations started about it. And again, all of the proceeds from the ticket sales there and all the other things we had going on go straight to She's the First. So we make it a really big focus in all of our events and all of our fundraisers to incorporate as much of the Lasell community as possible. All of our events are done on campus, so they're open to the Lasell community, but we make a very concerted effort to invite people from the village and to invite people from the barn in Rockwell, and even just post it to the general public in the Newton area so that it's open to anybody and that anybody has the opportunity to come and get information and learn more about this organization.